Good morning, grade 4 pupils. I am Sir Arnold, your friendly science teacher, and I am on a journey to understand the different things around us. Are you ready to join me for today's lesson? Come on! Another way to classify materials is by grouping them based on the ability to float or sink in water. In this topic, we will identify and describe the kind of materials that float and sink. Float means to stay on top of water. Sink means to fall to the bottom of water. Why do objects float? Why do objects sink? An object floats if the weight of the water it displaces is more than its own weight. An object sinks if the weight of the water it displaces is less its own weight. Density is the amount of matter present in a given volume of substance. Density is expressed in gram per cubic centimeter. It is related to the floating and sinking of materials. Materials that are less dense will float over materials that are denser. Let's investigate. Look at the picture of the mixture of oil and water. What do you notice? Correct! The oil stays on top of the water. Why do you think the oil stays on top of the water? That's right! It is because oil is lighter than water. Therefore, oil stays on top of the water. The floating or sinking of object in liquid depends on the density of both the object and the water. Water has a density of 1 gram per cubic centimeter. If the density of an object is higher than the density of water, that object will sink in water. But if the density of the object is less than the density of water, the object will float in water. Let's try this. Classify these materials according to whether they float or sink in water. You can use the material's density as your reference. You are correct! The wooden toy and the oil float on top of the water, with the wooden toy having 0.76 cubic centimeter and the oil having 0.79 cubic centimeter. When compared to water, which has a density of 1 cubic centimeter, this material has a lower density. Gold ring with 19.3 cubic centimeter and pebble with 2.7 cubic centimeter sink in water because this materials has a greater density with water. Other materials float at first but then sink as they absorb water or take water on through holes. Example of these materials is cotton ball. Can you give other materials which float at first and then sink as they absorb water? That's right! Towel, tissue paper, and sponge float at first but then sink as they absorb water. Let's apply. Why large boats or ships float on water? Large ships and boats float on water because the upward push of the water is greater than their weights. I hope you learn a lot today and apply this learning in your daily life. I am inviting you again to join me to discover the wonders of science. This is Sir Arnold, your friendly science teacher. See you again. Goodbye!